Hey horror fans, thanks for joining me for this review of Death Note. So again, continuing to make my way through Netflix here, and surprisingly enough, I'm looking at this one here over here on IMDb, setting up for this review, and it doesn't really mention this one as a horror movie. It says action, adventure, crime. Very interestingly enough, but I guess if you continue the description of it, definitely see it worthy as horror, and so that's why I'm going to do this review of it, regardless of what that says. Anyway, cast and crew information down below, and I will read, regardless of what IMDb says, this is not horror, what the plot is. And a high school student named Light Turner discovers a mysterious notebook that has the power to kill anyone whose name is written in its pages, and launches a secret crusade to rid the world of criminals. So it's got kill in it, so that's good. That's a horror move right there. But again, action, adventure, crime, it's all those things as well, but it's horror. Definitely see the horror in it as well. So that's why I'm going to discuss this one, even though it's, I guess, back in 2017. So, again, we have a setup here. Young boy, I wouldn't say he's nerdy or anything like that, but maybe not the most popular, and he also, kind of maybe a little bit of a loner. And I guess there's some other kids in school that also pick on people and pick on him as well. And at first it's weird because at first in the opening scene it kind of starts off showing some cheerleading and focuses on kind of one of the girls that are there. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, we're going to see the story from her point of view. But then it kind of flips and jumps to him. And of course she's in the equation as she takes an interest in him and kind of gets lucky and then stumbles on this journey with him. But what basically happens is early in the movie, again, he gets bullied, knocked out, and somehow in all the chaos ends up with this notebook. So he's in detention. He starts looking through this notebook, and it's not the usual notebook. And it's got all kinds of rules in it and written in a strange way and so forth. So he's not really sure what to do with it. All of a sudden, some weird, I don't know, I'll call it a creature or so forth, character ends up in the room with him there. And I thought it was a really neat looking creature. Definitely one of the reasons why I kept watching. And I thought they did a really, really cool job with him. He had a lot of spikes on him. He was kind of dark. Liked eating apples. I don't know if they said why he liked eating apples, but he would always, you knew when he was around, even if he wasn't, they didn't show him, because they would throw a apple core, eating one on the floor there. So at least he was around. If not, eventually they showed him usually around the same time. Then I guess he was a little scary in some ways, but he wasn't there to try to really scare you. Maybe a little intimidating, but he had a little bit of a sense of humor, and he kind of played as that character. He knew what was going to happen. He was kind of toying with you, wanting the boy to start using the book, but knew that eventually the boy would abuse the power and break the rules of the book, and then bad things would happen. So at first he uses it basically to get revenge on one of the bullies. I mean, why not? And immediately when you see this scene, you're going to be like, oh, there's the horror, because he definitely dies in a great way, horror-wise. And lots of blood and guts and so forth. So that's a lot of fun right off the bat. And then again, he kind of gets intertwined with this girl, and then as opposed to using the power, to, I guess, eliminate all the people around him, let me, before I get there, he does, in fact, his mother was killed, and he lives with his father, and I guess the person who killed his mother didn't get the justice that both him and his father wanted to. So you've got this book that will kill people for you. Why not? Get your own revenge. So he gets revenge, has the guy who killed his mother killed. And basically, the fun part about the book, or the fun part of using it, is you write the person's name down, and you get to also pick how they died. So you get to use your imagination, and it's not just, oh, they died, kill such and such. No, you get to pick the way. So you really want them to suffer or not, or quick death, or however you want it. From a horror fan's perspective, you're gonna have tons of fun there. If you can really stomach going through with killing people or killing whoever. Lots of fun stuff to happen there. And so the first couple of times he kind of uses it more personally, but then he decides, almost to be a superhero type in a weird way, and he decides he's going to eliminate all the bad guys in the world. So he kind of looks at terrorist list and criminals across the world, not only in the United States or wherever he is, overseas, FBI, people the FBI are looking for, whatever, so forth. And he starts eliminating them, and I guess he falls under a name that he's kind of given himself, and people, and it starts showing up on the news. Who's killing all these people? Is it just fate or whatever? Kind of people catch on that it's like all these bad guys that are dying, and not just normal people. So they're wondering if it's a spirit, if it's a real person who's doing this, how the people are dying. And you get to see some of the deaths. Apparently some of the bad people are turning themselves in because they don't want to die, so they give up whatever they're doing that's bad. So in a weird way, the kid's doing a lot of good. But that's not really the purpose of the book. The book wants you to eventually abuse it. And it's not really up to the book in this case, because actually this other character called L, who in another, I don't know, I didn't really quite get it. I don't know if I missed it or if it was just part of the movie, if the book and this guy were kind of in the same universe of things, or it just happened to be because he has a unique story on his own, or he, I guess, comes from a line of detectives, and the world's best detectives, and especially trained and so forth. So he's kind of an odd character as it is, and he just cannot let it be that this kid is out here doing good for the world. He needs to find this kid. Well, he doesn't know it's a kid, but he needs to find whoever it is that is killing all these bad people. He can't just let it be, to me, the kid's doing good, let it be, whatever. But no, I guess depends on your point of view, who gives him the right to kill all these bad people and so forth, and whatever. So he makes it his mission, and he narrows it down, and eventually comes to the city and actually works. The kid's dad, LaKeith, he's a cop, and he's on the case in his city, and so L meets up with the dad, and L is very connected, and basically, anything he wants, he can make happen and so forth behind the scenes, and is there to narrow it down, and eventually finds out that it is the boy, and don't want to go too much further into it and spoil anything else as far as what's going to happen. There's the give and take between the two of them, cat and mouse, as you want to say, and other things are happening. Of course, again, the creature, the thing that's responsible for the book is always over the shoulder of the boy, watching what he's doing, kind of playing tricks on him. And remember that this book has rules to it, and apparently there's a lot of rules and lots of things going on within the book itself, that if you break it, this stuff can happen to you. There's the whole thing about passing on the book, and eventually, the power leaving you, and so forth. So, again, for me, it was an up and down ride. When it first started, I was like, wow, that's a good idea for the book and so forth. Then kind of when he went on this like superhero kind of trip and solving the thing of the world and the problems of the world, I kind of turned me off a little bit. I it is an interesting angle that it takes. I guess you could have done a couple of different things with the book. If it was, describe it as a true horror movie. I guess if you wanted it to be a true horror movie, you could have done a lot of things with the book and writing people's deaths and so forth. Maybe it would have been a good place to begin for an anthology or something like that. But instead, they kind of go the superhero route. And, for a while in the movie, when that started happening, kind of lost me a little bit. I guess I didn't expect that. I got really excited at the beginning, and then they threw that in there, and I was like, I don't know about this. And then I guess, it kind of caught me back up once. I don't want to spoil it, but I guess, there's more things happening here. Remember, again, he's there with the girl. The girl is the only one who knows his secret. So she also gets involved. And I guess, there's a dynamic ending up between him, the girl, and Elle that's trying to catch them. And there's certain things that are happening, and I guess you just kind of got to remember what's going on here, writing in the book and so forth, and rules and so forth. And I'm really trying not to spoil it and give too much away. So there are other things happening here, and a bunch of chaos happens at the end, and then you kind of see, there's one of those movies where it gets to a point in the end, and then it kind of flashes back to show you what you didn't see and why certain things happen and so forth, which was okay. I don't think it ever got too confusing. You kind of get the grasp of what's going on there, and it ends okay. So, like I said, it has a lot of good things in it. The deaths are pretty cool. It kind of brought me back to maybe a little bit of Final Destination. You kind of get that, there's something out there that's causing a death to happen. You see that in basically the first couple of deaths. Mysterious circumstance happens, something falls, this moves, blah, blah, and then before you know it, someone's dead. So, a little bit of flashing back to Final Destination there. And, but overall, again, it's kind of a roller coaster ride there. This one, I like to come out and do more reviews of ones that I solidly like and really want you to see. This one, I'm kind of 50-50 on. Looking at IMDb, it doesn't, I guess it's below 5, just below 5, so I guess it's not getting that favorable of a mark there. But I think there are things worth checking out in this movie. Maybe you won't like the whole movie. Maybe you won't like it as a whole. But I also like to always say that, within even movies that are bad or that you don't like or whatever, usually you can find at least something good in it. And I think there are some good things about this movie. Maybe you don't like it as a whole. I'm going to give it 2 pools of blood because, maybe if they would have stuck a little bit more to what was happening in the beginning, maybe I'd have given it something higher. But, because I guess they kind of went on their own track of superhero and saving the world or whatever. And then the weirdness of this guy having to solve the case. They kind of get into that detective kind of thing. Again, adventure, action, crime. So I guess that kind of loses it a little bit for me. But I think there is some good things in it, or good things to see. So I guess you can take that for what it's worth. If you want to give this a try or not. If you've seen it or not. If you've seen it, I'd be interested to see if you what you thought. You can throw that down below in the comment section to see, if you kind of had that same thought with me that it was a good idea with the book, but maybe if you're a horror fan, you wanted to see something else with it. but this is a good story alone. If you didn't want it to be a horror movie, if you want it to be what it ends up being, is an action adventure kind of movie with some horror elements in it. So with that, again, Two Pools of Blood. This one's a 50-50 one if you want to give it a chance. And cast and crew and more information about the movie below. Again, if you want to see more video reviews, you can subscribe to this channel. And if you were looking for some video reviews and some of my older reviews, you can find that at horosgoryreviews.blogspot.com, as well as on social media, Twitter, Facebook. That information will be down below as well. And, see if you give this one a shot or not. I don't know. But until the next review, take care, horror fans.